Welcome back to the track record. Today is going to be a fun one. We've got Dillon Dean, class of 2016 from Benjamin Russell High School. He's a two-time state champion, one in cross, one in track. Dillon, how you doing, man?
Doing good.
Yep.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Let's get into it. Let's start with your journey into running, kind of what got you into the sport, and then we'll kind of go from into the sport, high school, on to college.
Okay. So, whenever I was in like 5th, 6th grade, my mom, she was training for a marathon, and she always had me doing stuff. Like my parents always had me doing stuff. I always played baseball. I was doing I'd been doing martial arts and stuff since I was like 5, and around 5th, 6th grade, when my mom started training for this marathon, and she would have me run with her every now and then. Like after school, after doing like karate and stuff, like after doing all that, then I would go and run with her. And 6th grade, I did like my first 5K, like with my home church, the Methodist Church in Alex City. I don't know, I ran like 26 minutes, something like that. Like, I don't know. But in 6th grade, and I would always like place like top of presidential fitness war, stuff like that for running and all that type of stuff. So whenever that happened, the cross country coach was there at the race because her daughter was running it, and she asked me if I wanted to come out and run cross country. But I couldn't at the time because I was just now going into 6th grade, so I had to wait till I was in middle school because in Alex City, they don't go into middle school till 7th grade.
Okay.
Unlike some like Homewood, they don't go till 6th, or they go in 6th grade and stuff like that. But so I didn't join the cross country team until 8th grade, while I was playing football. And at the time, that coach's daughter, she was like a junior in high school. And she ended up, her name was Savannah Hannah, she ended up going and running at Point University under Greg Mann and stuff.
Yep.
So I trained with her. Like I would get up and run with her in the mornings. She would come pick me up. I would go run with her. And I was still playing football at the time. So if we had like a track session in the afternoon, I would go do football practice from 2 to 4:30, and then I would go over to the track that was like an old gravel track. Go do a track workout in the afternoon after doing football. And my first race, I think I would place like 5th or 6th in my first cross country race in middle school. And I was like, oh, I'm be pretty good. I guess this is something I can do. I didn't know like what to expect. I just knew like it's like, oh well, I just give everything my all, so I'll just go out there, run my butt off, and then we'll see how it goes. And I'm doing well and ran like pretty good throughout that year. So I quit football after that year, did cross country in the fall, but I grew up playing baseball like since the time I was 4 or 5, and played with the exact same guys. Like we all played baseball together. We grew up together, and I just didn't want to quit the team. Like I was doing pretty good at the time. I thought that I might want to go play baseball in college. Like I never thought about even the possibility of going to run in college. But I did cross country, and I placed like decently well through high school. Like freshman year, I think I was like top 15, whatever that is in state, like all state or whatever. And then each year I got a little bit better. I think my freshman year I ran like 17:23, I think was my 5K. Then the next year was just a little bit under that, then 16:45. But then I was like, if I really want to do this, like, I gotta focus.
Yeah.
But Alex City just doesn't have a good, like, it's not a big running community like what you have in Birmingham that I grew to love and know. So I just, like, I didn't know any different. Like, I wanted to play baseball. That's where all my buddies were. So it took a long time for me to realize, like, hey, like, I need to get focused. I need to do this if I want to, like, really make something out of it. Because I know I can be good at it, but I just got to put the time and effort into it.
Right.
So I quit baseball my junior year. I ran those whenever I placed like what did I place my junior year?
Junior year cross country, 1637, you were 10th place.
Yeah, and then what was track?
Track, 2015 track, you were 10:01 in the 2 mile for 7th. In the mile, you were 4:41 for 14th.
Yeah, and so that whole year, I was playing baseball.
Yeah.
So I was like, the only time that I ran was after baseball practice. Because we had practice every single day. We had games like on Saturdays and stuff. Like, I barely had any time to ever do any races, and the coach like really hated that I was doing it because he was really pissed at me for doing it and taking time away from like practices to try to go at least do like the minimum amount of races so I could be able to run sectionals and state.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, this like I want to like see if I can what I can do, and then after that, after I placed like decent in the state that year in track, I was like, all right, I know I'm not like I was decent at baseball, but at the end of the day, I knew that I was better at running.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I gotta make a commitment, and I want to go run. So quit baseball after my junior year, and going into my senior year, actually one of the parents in Opelika worked at the hospital in Allen City.
Okay.
And she reached out to my mom because my mom was working at the hospital at the time, and invited me to start practicing with Opelika during the summers.
Okay.
So that summer I was going into my senior year, I was working for like United Way, and they were really lenient with me. So I traveled to Opelika like 2 to 3 times a week.
How far is that?
45 minutes.
Okay.
So I would get up at like 5 a.m., go to Opelika, run with Ben Bryant, Ben Gardner.
Yep.
Ben Bryant was committed to Sanford.
Yep.
Ben Gardner was really good at the time in the state, and so I was like, yeah, that's some good guys to go run with. So, and Ben had just won state. Like, I just watched everything that he did that year in 6A, and I was like, yeah, those are people that can make me better.
Right.
So I did that the whole entire summer, and I just like I trained my butt off and worked really hard. And going into my senior year, I knew I started like learning like the big names, like who was top in the state, like all the homely guys. Andy Smith at the time was like the guy to beat in the state for 6A, and I was just like I was focused. I was just like, these are the people I got to beat.
Right.
And every single day that I trained, I was like, beat that person, beat that person, beat this person. Ryan Ford beat me in at Tuscaloosa that year, like beat Ryan Ford, like these, and that's like what drove me every single day. And I was really fortunate at the time that my coach, he was like, he kind of played me a little bit on the side of being cautious and kind of like not under training, but not like trying to peak my senior year.
Yep.
It was, hey, we're gonna do workouts to where whenever you go to college, you're successful.
Yeah.
So I was doing workouts that were for like 8Ks.
Sure.
I was doing like, my workouts were 6 mile, 8 mile workouts. It was doing 6 mile like alt mile workouts where 1 mile would run like 5:30, 1 mile would be 6 flat. Just alternating like that was probably my go-to, lactate threshold workout that I did almost every single week during cross country season. And I didn't run a long run at the time. But then went into that senior year, and I just like things were clicking.
Yeah.
Like I got momentum and things were clicking. I went and won a couple of races. I think I was second at Crimson Classic, and like those races, I went to by myself. Me and my parents paid for those races for me to go to. The school didn't help us out or anything. It was just like, these are the races that I need to go to where people are going to run fast and where I can get looked at. And like, the coaches didn't go with us. Like, we had to pay our way into it, and it was just what I had to do. Like, I didn't have the support that a lot of people did. So we just made it happen. And then go into, state. I was just, at that time, like everybody, it was kind of up between like me and a couple of other guys, and I was like, I'm going for it. You know. So ended up winning state that year for cross. I mean, nothing spectacular as far as time wise. Like, I actually got done, and my mom was like, "Could you have not run faster?" Like,
yeah, but I think like you still went from 16:37 in 1 year to 15:45. So it's big. The time maybe not. You maybe could have gone faster, but the time was there, and you won on the day. That was the goal.
Yeah.
The goal was to win.
and that, at that time, in that age of like Alabama running, 15:45 was fast.
Yeah.
Like 15:30 to 15:45, like that was your top 10 guys.
Right. It shifted, but at that time, definitely. Let's talk about quickly. You talked about focusing on not necessarily peaking right away, but more college. But your state championship outdoor track in Gulf Shores, you peaked. Like, you peaked at the right time. You PR'd in the 2 mile, 9:36. PR'd in the mile, 4:21. Well, okay, so your 2 mile was technically 9:31 at Mountain Brook, I think.
Yeah, for a full 2.
Right,
Yeah.
but for 32 it was a PR, 4:21 in the mile, and sub 2, 1:59 in the 800. So everything came together on that day, which is a
That
coach's
weekend.
dream, really.
Yeah. And if you, like, if I play back those races in my head, to me it was that I was stronger than everybody. Like, it wasn't, I didn't have that like super fast, like that's why I got smoked in the mile.
Right.
Because it came down to the last 200, and I just didn't have like the turnover that I needed to have. But in the 2 mile, I knew I was stronger than everybody.
Yep.
So we took it out at like a normal, somewhat normal pace. I think it was like just under 5, and then I just dropped the hammer. I was like, I'm gonna play this first mile, see how it goes, and then I'm just sending it on the last mile.
Yeah.
And I was like, if somebody can hang on with me, then they can. If they're not, then let's go. And I think I was able to hold off like 10 seconds on whoever was next. But I was just, and that's over the course of my career, that was a strength first.
Yeah, that's your bread and butter for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's move to Sanford. You committed there. Came in and honestly made an impact right away. And that's probably partially due to the training in high school that was prepping you for college. Let's first race I remember really was Chili Pepper 2016, right? Chili Pepper in Arkansas. Walk us through that. You were 4th on the team. You ran 25-27. Just walk through that first big college race experience.
Yeah, because I think we had done like an opener in Jacksonville or something, Jackson State. And so that race, I remember, that was, you want to...
Oh, yeah, I should...
So we can go start from the get-go.
This young freshman gets to the meet, and he talks to coach, and he's like, I don't have my bib. And, like, there's panic, and it's, like, almost tears. Like, you're just like, crap, what do I do? Luckily, we get the bib. You're good. Also, you didn't have any shorts.
Yeah.
Like, maybe this was freshman hazing or what, but you had to they made you run in half tights for a cross-country race.
The whole year.
Yeah,
the whole year.
The whole year.
Cross, indoor, and outdoor.
Yeah.
Nothing but half tights. It was great.
We can thank Coach Pat McGregor for that.
Yeah.
And then when I look at the results, we finished right behind each other, which I didn't realize that. You were 4, I was 5. So, yeah, just tell us, like, talk through that race and dealing with the bib, and then the shorts wasn't really a big deal.
Well, I think going on that trip, I think I didn't even have like my jersey top. I had to borrow that from Mike Rody.
Yeah.
And then I set up my bib and stuff on my jersey the night before, set it on the counter. Probably didn't wake up with enough time that morning, and just rushed out. I left my bib on the counter, and I get we're on the way to the course, and I'm looking through my bag like, oh my God, where is my bib? Where is my jersey? And I go,
Okay, we're back. Slight technical difficulties, overheating of the camera, but we were talking about Chili Pepper 2016, where forgot the bib, forgot your jersey, running in half tights. So continue on that story.
So I think where I left off was that I was we were on the bus on the way to the course, and I look and I'm going through my bag, double checking everything, and because I guess I just didn't need to double check at the hotel.
Right.
And I'm like, where is my jersey?
Yeah.
Like, where is my bib? Because it was on it. I'm like, oh my god. I had to leave it at the hotel.
Yep.
So, like, what do I do? Like, guess I gotta own up to it.
Yep.
And so I go up, we get to the course, I'm like, hey, coach, Pat, I think I left my jersey at the hotel. He's like, well, guess you're not racing. This is my first big race in college, my first 8K, and I get told, like, well, I guess you're not racing.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, I was like in tears. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I've messed this up. Like, I've screwed up. Luckily.
All right, we're back again. We have assistant coach go to get your bib.
Yeah.
And you're good to race.
So then, I was worried about the course. I was like, God, this has a huge hill in it, because it's like a straightaway for first, I don't know, quarter mile, and it goes up a hill, big loop. I think it's like a 2-loop course, if I remember right. But before the race, it was like, hey, you 3 guys, I think, or 4 guys. It was like probably me, you, Mike, and Josh. I think we're told, like, hey, like, y'all stick together. I think, Ben, Brandon. I think Ben and Brandon were put together. Oh yeah, because we had Jonathan Helton there, because one of our good friends didn't get to go to the race.
Got the low end of the stick.
And so.
But hey, Owen didn't go to that race and then ripped the 5K on the track that night at like 11 when we got back. So yeah, he got the low end of the stick, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So we were told to, like, pack up. It was like, hey, first 5K, stay packed up. I want you to go through at like 5-minute pace, like no faster. Stay together for the first 5K. Then you can, let it rip the last 3K.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I was pretty antsy. I was like, oh, like, I want to go, but I can't. And then we hit 5K, and I let it rip. And, I think I put a pretty good gap. I mean, I thought that put a pretty good gap on everybody, but apparently you were on my shoulder. But, I mean, did pretty well, like you said, 25-27. And to me, I think, like, that was one of the better, like, time. Like, I was thinking, maybe 26 minutes, just going off of, like, what I've seen a couple of y'all do y'all's freshman year.
Yep.
Wasn't expecting 25-27, so I was stoked. I was like, oh, that's great. And I looked around, like, at what other freshmen do. All right, that's pretty good. Like, I'll take it. And then I was like, I was pleased with it, and I just that freshman cross country season was probably one of my best seasons I've had. It was just like really good momentum, and it all started with that first race. And it was, it went from there, at least for the cross country season.
So we're coming off that really big cross country season freshman year, and we'll talk quickly about it before we move on. But I remember SoCon Championships hosted at Sanford in the spring. We're running the 5K. We both run the 10K the day before, and you're just giving it to us older upperclassmen, right? And I remember we're coming around 200 on the track, and Coach Pat is over there, maybe sitting on the steeple barrier, and he goes, "Guys, you're letting the freshmen take it to you." And that's probably the safe version of what he said. But anyway, it was just like, where did that come from? You came in, you're the freshman, you didn't care about us upperclassmen, you didn't care about anybody in the race, but you're going to do your thing. And when I think of you, I tell people, like, you have that dog in you, right? And that's what made you special, is that you didn't have the fastest turnover, like you mentioned, against Andy in the mile. You got a shorter build, right? But you're still going to get up in there and fight with people. So where did that come from? Was that you're born with that? Did you develop it, or talk about that?
I think it's something, to me, it's something that I've kind of always had, and it's something that's been kind of instilled in me at a young age, like to work hard, no matter what.
Yeah.
Always have like integrity. Always, give everything your best. I think that's something that my parents taught me at a very young age. Um, and I was just like, as a kid, like I always wanted to do more.
Yeah.
So my parents always pushed me to do more.
Yeah.
They were always very strict on me, and I always beat myself up. So whenever you beat yourself up, you expect more out of yourself.
Yeah.
And so to me, I think that's kind of how I've always been. I always wanted to go practice extra. I always wanted to try to beat other people. I always wanted to be the best at something that I wanted to do. And I think that's just like, it really came to fruition once I came to Sanford.
Yeah.
And I think something that a lot of people don't know about me is that I came to Sanford as a walk-on.
Yeah.
And so whenever I committed to Sanford, Coach O, who I didn't get to be coached under because he had left like as we were coming in to my freshman year, but he verbally told me, he was like, I'm expecting you to probably be like a number 6, number 7 guy, but if you can come in and you can score, we'll talk about money.
Yep.
So I came in with a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
And because my parents told me, like, I mean, I've never had to struggle in my life, but at the same time, like, my parents are very young, they've done the best they can, but like, and they do really, really well now, but going to Sanford, and Sanford's so expensive, it was like, you have 1 year.
Yeah.
You have 1 year that we'll support you on, as a walk-on. Because, I had other schools that I could have went and had money for, or that were cheaper, or went on a full ride to, but it just wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
So whenever I went to Sanford, I was like, I gotta go score points. Like I gotta be the best, so that I can stay there.
Yeah.
And so I ran with the chip on my shoulder, like, and every single coach at Sanford can tell you, like, that I always like ran with a chip on my shoulder. And if I ever got soft, like at any time in my career, they were like, we like that person who had a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
Where's that at?
Yeah.
And that might just be one race where I just didn't have it, and it was just like, oh yeah, you're right. I was always kind of like a blue collar, like,
Definitely.
runner, that just worked hard. Like you said, like, I don't have the best stature. I don't have the best this or that. I definitely don't think I'm the most talented person, but I know how to suffer, and I know how to work hard.
Right.
And I'll try to outwork every single person that I can.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, cross country and track, like, sure, it's a team sport, and the points accumulate as a team, but what matters is how you do. Like, whenever that gun goes off, it's you against everybody.
Exactly.
It's not you with your teammates against everybody. Like, it's you against 300 people.
Yeah.
Like, it does, nobody, like, your teammate's not gonna put a rope on you and pull you along. Like, it's you against everybody else.
Right.
And I've always had that mentality whenever it comes to running. It's like, once that gun goes off, we're not teammates till we're done.
Right.
I might be like, hey, come on, like, let's go.
Yeah.
But in a big race, like,
You don't have time for it.
I don't have time for that, and it's just go. And so whenever it's a championship race, like, all I care about is the person that's beating me.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's my teammate, or I don't care if it's a Furman guy. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like I've always had that mentality, and it's like, it can be selfish at times, but at the same time, like, that's the sport.
Yeah.
You gotta take care of yourself so that you can take care of the team. Because if you aren't worried about yourself and how you're doing, and you're worried about everybody else behind you,
Yeah.
then you're just not giving your all, so that you can give it all for the team. So that's, I don't know, so whenever it comes to like older guys and stuff, I didn't care. Like, I was like, I'm worried about me being able to stay at school. They aren't keeping me here at Sanford. I'm keeping myself at Sanford. So, I was fortunate enough to have a good career to where I was able to get that scholarship and be able to stay at Sanford, and be able to work up money like each year and each time that I placed.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what coaches want to see. They want to see you place.
Right.
And that's what gets you points, and that's what wins championships. So that's the kind of the mentality I had. So, that race, like, I didn't care. Like, I was like,
Who cares? Yeah.
you know, coach told us to go do this,
Yeah.
but hey, like, I'm feeling good this day. Like, I gotta go. Like,
Right.
I can't sit back and wait.
Right.
Like,
There's no pecking order on race day.
No,
Yeah.
no, there's not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. To your leadership style, as you grew older and you became like not just a young guy anymore on the team, you're now the leader. I remember several times, maybe your junior year, I'm a fifth year, and we're doing long runs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you led by example, right? So you had 18 that day, and this was several times that this happened, but 18, and you finished these. We're running at Fox Valley. If you know what that is in Birmingham area, it's a grinder, right?
Yeah.
And like you're knocking out sub-6 pace at Fox Valley, probably with a race the day before, or really just with the body of work before. And like there's no excuses. Now, does that work every single week? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But like you were going in and you're like, I'm going to grind on this long run, and you often went solo.
Yeah.
Like it's like, and you called the rest of us a challenge to do that, but you're like, I'm going for it, and I think that speaks to like your that toughness. You're like, even if I'm gonna say what I have to say, and that's, hey guys, come on. But if no one's coming with me, I'm still going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's oftentimes like, you know, I got crap for it. Like,
Oh yeah.
From the older guys, like, like, you need to wait, or like, there goes Mr. Tryhard. Like, but I was like, dude, all right, y'all can stay back there. Like, today I'm getting better. Like, I don't care. You know, if I have to go by myself and do this, like, I'm going to. And I think that also helps, you know, whenever I came into Centford, we had two guys that were just like that, Brandon, Azuri, and Arson. And, you know, they didn't mind going out on their own, and I was usually one of the ones that just tried to, like, hang on to them. So once I got to that level to where I could be the person that went and have somebody hang on to me, it was like, hey, you can come or not.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going. You know,
I remember well, at least it's what you guys have told me, is that I had a couple of those with you guys. You know, a couple of those 18 and sub-6. So, yeah, it's like, come if you can come today, come on. You know, if you can only come for a little bit, come on. So, yeah. Let's transition to your senior year, 2020. You're at the indoor championships up at VMI. You run 8:18 in the 3,000, a new personal best. You get fourth. You run 14:42 in the 5,000, second place, also a PR. So we're gonna talk about. So you just peaked. I mean, you got 2 PRs, and then COVID happens, right? COVID shuts down your senior season. So talk about the emotions of your senior season getting cut short, especially knowing where you were at that indoor championship.
It was honestly like really, really tough on me. Because, you know, a lot of people plan to peak for the championship. We were planning to peak for Raleigh Relay. So the championship, SoCon, was just a stepping stone going to Raleigh Relay. Like, we want to, you know, tighten up a little bit for that race, but I didn't take a single day off. Like, usually you take your few days off and then you start getting ready for for outdoor. But that year, we were trying to peak for Raleigh Relay to be able to.
A month later.
Yeah, a month later. It was like it was exactly 4 weeks later. And so that's what we were planning for. I didn't take any days off. Like, you know, I might have taken a few easier days before I hit a workout again. Like, instead of doing workout on Tuesday, we switched it to a Wednesday. But for the most part, like, it was that was it, because we wanted to run the 10K there. I wanted to go around 29 flat.
So, quick interjection, you ran 30:37 in 2019, and getting ready for this, I was like, I didn't even talk to you about it. So 29 flat actually makes sense. At East Regionals the year before, 29:19 makes NCAAs. So, yeah, you were 30:37, and then the goal was 29, and that, based on the year before, was an NCAA qualifying mark. So.
Right, yeah. And so that's what I was shooting for. I thought that I was definitely in that shape to do it, from a few workouts I've done. From that, because, you know, 14:42, like, in college, that's not great. Like, 8:18, like, those are, like, decent times, but if you look at the splits on that race...
It's championship racing.
Yeah, it was championship racing. Like, in that 3K, I closed in, like, 2:06, 2:05, and I'm not much of a closer, so, like, closing the last 800 in 205
Mm-hmm.
with like 230s back to back to close, like, was pretty good for me. And then for that 5K, we went out, we were over 15-minute pace going through 2 miles.
Yeah.
And then it was just
Ratchet
like,
down,
and
yeah.
it was one person that went. I was like, I got to go with them if I want to do this. And so I went. I think we closed like Daniel Burnell, I think is who it was. I think he closed in like 4:24. And I just kind of backed off in the last 100 and ran like 4:27 for the last mile. Like that, I was like, okay, I can go run sub 15-minute pace.
Yeah.
Like I was ready for it. Between those 2 races back to back days and a workout that I did a week before, I was like, yeah, I'm ready to do it. So it was really heartbreaking because I wanted to make it to the regionals. You know, it was my last year. I never had any injuries. I didn't have a red shirt year. So that was it. Like, that outdoor season was it. And then COVID happens, and they were like, well, NCAAs are called off. And we're like, well, nothing's been, like, shut down super, super bad yet. Maybe Raleigh's still going to happen.
Yeah.
Just so I can at least get that PR that I want in case I want to keep running, you know, post-college. And then we were 2 weeks out from it. I just finished up a 10x workout in the rain, in the wind. It was awful.
Yeah.
And we find out like very soon after that Raleigh was shut down. Everything's shut down. And I took it hard because like I've spent so much time and effort that 2 years like where I just really locked in and to accumulate to that time. And then for it to all of a sudden just be gone. Like I personally took it pretty hard. Like I was kind of down in the dumps. I remember whenever I was moving out of Birmingham, like I was going through my closet, like throwing things away, and I found my bag where I kept like every single bib from every single race, and like, dude, I just like broke down. Like I was like, you know, all this work, and like
Kind of
now,
for nothing.
yeah, and now, cause now, to me, I'm like, I don't like being a what if guy, but now like, because of COVID,
It's the biggest what if.
now I'm a what if guy because I didn't continue my running career, that we could talk about later, but so now it's all like up in the air. Like I don't know what I could have done because I knew roughly what my ceiling could be, and I never got to it.
What do you think that was?
I think I could have been like 14 O's and, you know, a sub 29 guy for 10K.
Yeah.
And probably a 215 guy for marathon.
Yeah.
You know, I was much more better the longer the better. I mean, I did a VO2 max test one time, and I wasn't in peak shape where I had a VO2 max of 72. Like, my heart rate didn't get above, about 155, 160 till I got to sub 5 pace. So, like, I was like, by those testings, by the way I've always ran, by my long runs, I was like, the marathon, that type of stuff, like, the longer the better. And I just, I knew kind of what I could have done, but I never, you can't go on a T-Fers or you can't go somewhere and be like, oh, okay, yeah, you ran that. I ran respectful times, but it's nothing that I knew that I could do.
Yeah.
So
why do you think you didn't pursue post a fifth year maybe, or even after college, continue to train and chase the dream a little bit?
So I originally was, I think me and Coach Ballios, Coach at Stanford, we were planning on maybe like a fall marathon, like Chicago, or trying to go to Austin to do like the half or something like that, to at least try to get, that 219 standard or something like that I think it's 218 now, for the B standard for the trials, and then, just things kept getting canceled. So, at that time it was just very like up in the air, like nobody knew what was happening. Everything was canceled. Nobody knew when things were going to go back to normal. So it was just like, what do I do? What are my priorities in life? And at that time, my priorities were that I was ready to get married. I wanted to get married. I wanted to be able to provide. Like, if I'm gonna if I'm gonna get married, I have to be able to provide for my wife. And so, I just had to make that hard decision to be like, all right, I got to figure out what my priorities are. And at the time, I was like, running just didn't line up with what I wanted my priorities to be. So I just had to hang them up.
Yeah.
It was a hard decision. So at times, like, I don't regret my decision. I just hate that I'm a what if person now.
Sure.
Because that was the last thing I've ever wanted to be.
Yeah.
But I just had to figure out what my priorities are, and make those tough decisions that you gotta make once you're graduated and become an adult. I did go after I entered the transfer portal, talked to coaches from like Alabama, Tennessee, Wake Forest, like some places. I had gotten some calls and stuff. Ultimately, I was gonna go to Alabama, and I got declined from the graduate program that I wanted to go to.
Wow.
Still don't really understand how that happened, but it is what it is, and it obviously was in God's plans, and now I'm glad that didn't work out, because I've had a lot of good things happen. So it's God's timing, and what it's supposed to be. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Looking back over it all, what's your favorite memory? Like, what are you gonna miss most?
I think I just miss the team.
Yeah.
I miss the team, and that's why, like, this weekend,
Right.
we got 3 of our, us, me, you, and Owen Bailey, who are all together and hanging out, like, and I make it a priority to keep up with the certain guys that I was close to, like, and I think that's probably what I miss the most. Getting up at 5 a.m., going and running together, like, having the team, like, that's probably that's the thing that I miss the most, like, and being as fit as I was, it's fun. Like, it's fun whenever you're that fit.
When you do whatever you want, kind of. Yeah.
So, definitely the team. We had a good team.
I'm gonna miss. Well, I miss this running behind your silly little headlamp at Veterans Park at 5 in the morning, warming up for 2x2 mile. So let's transition to a little quicker questions. But what do you think was your best workout you ever did? You mentioned 10 by K.
Yeah,
is that the best? Do you have another one that?
I would say so. It was 7 days out from that SoCon championship. I did 10 by K, 3-minute rest, 400-meter jog in between each one. I started out at like 2:59 and worked down to like 2:47, I think.
Okay.
And just every 2, I got like 3 seconds faster.
Yep.
That was whenever I knew I was fit.
Were you by yourself on that, or mostly?
I think I had some of the guys go with me till 5K, and then we had a guy who was just visiting, like a post-collegiate guy. His name's Alan Ash.
Yeah.
That lives in Birmingham. He helped me through like 600 meters of each one.
Yeah.
Just kind of, and then I would finish out the last 400 by myself. And so I mean, I had the help for the whole team, but kind of grinded it by myself. Kind of did it. That's probably the best one that I ever had.
I think a second best is the 5 by mile. I think my 5th year, your junior year, when you and Owen closed in
it was like
420 something.
It was like 428, I think.
428, the last mile.
Oh no, it was fast.
I thought it was like 424.
And it was
fast.
You start, we started at like 455, something like that, and went down like 5 seconds each rep, and then close harder. I did one. I didn't like it because I didn't feel like I did well, but I did a 3 by mile where I went, what did I do? I did it with Carissa. Like, Carissa helped me through the last mile through like 800. But it was 1 mile at like 4:36, 1 mile at 4:30, and 1 mile at 4:24 with 4-minute rest in between.
Dang. That's a banger.
That sucked. Yeah. That one was awful. It was those types of races. I think I did that my junior year.
Yeah.
But then also like all my long runs. Like
a long
And
run?
that was my bread and butter was the long runs.
Yeah.
You can go back into my Strava and it's like probably every other weekend if we didn't race it was
Tough one.
last 10 miles were sub 6, closing in 5:20 for the last 3 or 4. Those types of runs out at like Fox Valley, out at Fultondale, almost always by myself. Like that was those were the ones that I remember that I think made me the runner who I was. That everybody remembers me by is just grind. Like it was just a constant grind. I wasn't fast enough, so I wasn't the best, but I grinded.
Yeah. So to that point, what was your favorite spot to train?
Fox Valley. That was, if you haven't ever ran it and you're in Birmingham, you go to.
There's a doozy of a hill with 2 miles to go.
Yeah.
That'll make or break you.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. It's awful. It's a beat down. But it's, like if you talk to Brandon Zuri, who used to be a really good Alabama runner and now coaches at Wake Forest, like he says that I ended his career there. Like we were running a long run, and he was like, we got about 12 miles into it, and I broke him down, and he was like, I'm done. Yeah. He's like,
he just knew that was it. Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna hang him up. Like this is. That one, it's just a brutal place, like it, and you can make it as hard as you want to there, and I like places that suck. That's because where everybody hates and complains about, that's the places I like. Right. Because it's not easy.
Yeah.
The sport's not easy. So.
What's your running pet peeve? I got one. If you don't know it, I think I know yours, but.
I don't know. I got a few.
Let's hear them.
Let's see. Falling a little bit too close.
Yeah.
We've had we about got into a couple of fights on that.
It's a dark day.
That people that were like, because I snapped at a couple of teammates one time where it was like, hey, coach wants us to come through like 35, and I'm leading, and I'll always like say like I think I have a pretty good like stance on pace. Like if you tell me a time, I can go do it.
Yeah.
And it was, I think it was supposed to come through in 35, and I come in 34.8, and somebody was like, we're supposed to come through 35. I'm like,
come on, it's close enough.
I was like,
it
was some bad words that came out of my mouth.
Sure.
It's like, hey, at the end of the day, like, 0.2, like, come on.
Yeah, right.
That type of stuff.
One stepping has to be in there, right?
Yeah, one stepping for sure. Even though I can be bad at it at times.
Sure, us longer leg folk, one step, you're shorter legs. But
one stepping, because it's like, hey, like, I know, it's mainly because I know pace. Like, I know pace, I'm like, hey, if you're one step in front of me and you keep trying to push it, like, what are you trying to do right now?
Right.
Because I always hated if somebody was wanting to prove a point. Yeah. Because, especially as I got older, it was like, hey, if you want to do this right now, let's go. Like, we can make this day really long. Yeah. Or you could just, relax and we can do what we're supposed to do.
Let's work together.
Let's work together, because the team sport part is in practice.
Correct.
And so, if you don't want to be a team player and you want to try to push it because you want to go after the top guy, like, all right, we can see,
tango,
like, we can do this, right. Or times and places they all speak for themselves at races. So if you want to do it, let's do it. But if not, let's calm down.
Right. What was your cheat meal post? Maybe post season or maybe post good race.
Always a beer. I'm especially in Birmingham, I was always a beer snob. Yeah. But it wasn't like, especially whenever I was locked in, like I didn't go anything crazy, but I was like, I wanted a beer and probably some wings. Yeah. And
wings from anywhere in particular?
I could just go to B-Dubs and that'd be fine. And then always like cookies, like if I did 80 to 90 miles, like I allowed myself, a cookie like every other night or something. I don't know. Like I don't crave sweets anymore, but at the time, whenever I was running so much, like that's what my body craved, and you know, that was something that I was big on. Was just your body knows what it needs and what it wants.
Yep.
And that's how I treated everything. It was like, if I want it and it's craving it, then I'll like let my body have it. Because at the end of the day, like you're doing that many miles, it's like, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
There's always a happy middle ground.
Yeah.
But if I wanted a cookie, I think that was a good cheat.
What's the highest mileage you ever ran a week?
90. It wasn't anything crazy. There was one time where I went 6 weeks, 80 miles every single week, without a down week. I mean, being in Alabama, like, we had these like conversations of doing 20-mile long runs, doing 120 miles. It's like, one, it's not worth it. Two, he was like, if you were going out to Colorado, or if you were going to Flagstaff, and you could get on soft surface every day, then we would have that conversation, and it would be real, and like I could do that mileage, and he would have no problem with it. Because, like I said, I went 4 years. I think I'm the only person that I know at Sanford.
I would think
the only person in men and women's team that never had an injury.
Yeah,
I never had to take a week off.
Yeah.
So, my body, I think, was pretty rugged and could take a beating. And so, but it was never worth it. Like, it wasn't, whenever you're having to pave or grind on pavement all the time.
Right.
Like it's that 120 miles just isn't worth it.
Yeah. Who was the funniest teammate you had? It wasn't me, that's for sure.
Probably Owen Bailey or Hunter Poole. Ben Bryant comes out with zingers that just crack you up. It's a different kind of humor. It's just like a one-liner zinger, and it gets you.
Yeah.
Those two guys were always, and that's who I keep up with too. But I don't know. Probably Sam Katulich was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But whenever you say like I ran by myself, like I truly like once I got, because y'all didn't see it, but my senior year, like if people didn't want to run sub 7 minute pace and needed a chill day, I just didn't care. I was like, I did my own thing, and if I felt good, I wasn't gonna hold back for anybody. So I did a lot of my junior and senior year. I did a lot of mileage by myself.
Yeah.
But I mean, I came from a background and where I ran by myself every single day in high school. Like it wasn't like anything new. I don't mind being a lone wolf. I can do it. Always kind of have been that way. I mean, I was a single child for like 9 years. My little brother's much younger than me, so I did a lot of things on my own. So I never had an issue with that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we could talk running all day,
Yeah.
but last question: what are you doing with your life now, and kind of where's life taking you right now?
So I've had some big things happen lately. I've been up in Knoxville, Tennessee for the past 2 years. I'm in the Alabama National Guard right now with the sniper section. That's pretty fun, shooting long guns. Like, it's just one weekend every month. It's pretty cool. And then I did that right out of college because nobody was hiring. I was like, always wanted to serve.
Yep.
Running, it's kind of on the back burner right now, so I'll go do something that I've always wanted to do. It's the perfect time. Got married to Lauren. She ran at Sanford as well.
Yep.
We dated most of college, and then got married a year and a half out.
Took a while to get dating.
It took a while.
Took a lot of asking.
10 months worth. And then got married. We moved up to Knoxville. She just graduated from occupational therapy school for her master's program, and then I've been working as a project manager for a company. But 3 weeks ago, I took a job with Homeland Security as a special agent, and so next Sunday I leave for 6 months of training, and then my first studio location is going to be in Anchorage, Alaska, for 2.5 to 3 years, and then we'll hope to get back down to the south where all of our friends are within the next few years. So got a real busy year coming up. Got a lot of changes, but we were able to do it, and it's my dream job, and it's what I wanted to do, and now I got it. Now it's just go execute and make it happen and make the best of it. Just that running mindset carries into everything that I've always done, and so that's the way I encourage people to always keep that type of mindset and keep going after and keep grinding, and keep that mindset in everything that they do and what I do. And so we got a busy year coming up and a long career coming up, and try to do some good in the world. So
that's cool. Well, last question. Thinking back over Alabama high school, Alabama college, who are one or two people that the track record should take time to interview?
Somebody that has been really impressive, that I think you need to get your hands on, is Ryan Ford.
Yeah.
You know him really well.
Yep.
Me and him kind of duked it out, like back and forth all throughout college. We kind of went back and forth between times, and now he's really good, running for own running and stuff. So I think he would be a really good interview. There's a couple of guys, that are still running, trying to prove themselves now that you know of. Ryan Ford would be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe get your hands on some older guys like Scott Strand, or somebody like that who really did some really good running back in the 90s and 2000s, and now has kids running really, really well.
Right.
That most of everybody in Alabama running knows of. That will be good interviews once they graduate and move on. So there's some good people.
Cool.
Good people in Alabama that be good.
Cool. Well, Dillon, thanks for your time. This has been fun. Like always, if you have anybody who wants to be on here, needs their story told, we'd love to tell it. So thanks for watching.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.